Welcome to today's Exploring Thoughts meditation. I'm your facilitator, Jill Wardell. Today we will be focusing on and exploring our thoughts. One of my teachers once said that all of our unnecessary suffering stems from an expectation that life be other than it is. Our thoughts are the birthplace of our experience. They form our expectations, our hopes, our mindset that we use to observe everything happening within and around us. It is important for us to learn to recognize the thoughts that are present and often living us behind the scenes, as they directly impact how we show up, what we do, and what we get in terms of results in our lives. Similar to a breath meditation where we use the breath as an anchor for our attention, today we will be using our thoughts as that anchor. Our goal is to pay attention to our thoughts in 3 ways: openly, allowing any thoughts to arise and come; non-judgmentally, refusing to judge what shows up. There are no right or wrong thoughts to have. And purposefully, our goal is to pay attention to thoughts. If we find our attention wandering, we simply need to bring it back to the purpose of this meditation. So let's begin by getting ourselves into a nice, upright posture that encourages wakefulness. Find your feet on the floor, feel the chair supporting you, and choose a natural place for your hands to rest. You can go ahead and close your eyes and begin breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Let's begin by taking 3 long, deep breaths together, expanding the belly on the inhalation and contracting it on the exhalation. Expanding the belly, breathing in, and contracting the belly, breathing out. One more time. Breathing in and breathing out. Now I invite you to rest in this present moment. As you notice a thought arising, you may want to label it first. So perhaps it's a thought about your to-do list, about dinner, about your family, about what's happening in the community, maybe something that's happening on the global scale. Simply name it. A couple concise words will do so that you know what it is. And also notice how that thought goes places, how it is a trajectory for other emotions and perhaps sensations in the body. Just notice that for a second. Every thought has legs. It doesn't usually stay contained. Where does that thought go? How does it condition other thoughts? What emotions get generated by it? What body sensations show up in the presence of it? Just take a couple moments to notice how these things are interrelated. And now come back, and we are going to be focusing our next several minutes simply on the domain of thoughts. So one thing that you can do as you observe a thought is you can say inwardly, I am noticing myself thinking about my to-do list. there is a quality of noticing called bare attention. And this means paying light attention to the contour of the phenomena or the experience without going deeply into the content. So that's something that you can do here. We can say, I am noticing myself thinking about my family. We then don't need to be taken by the inner content of that thought. We can just simply say, I'm noticing myself thinking about this. I'm noticing myself thinking about that. We are trying to train our minds to pay attention to what's happening in the present moment, and the thoughts are our anchor for that. Oftentimes, instead of being attuned to the present moment, we get caught down a rabbit hole of our thoughts. We move into planning or ruminating, predicting, imagining, or worrying about a future that may never take place, or ruminating over a past that is long gone. Instead of getting caught here, we can simply come back to noticing the contour, the thought itself. And we can also see that this is the reality of what happens in our minds when they are left unattended. We can get caught, oftentimes going into a downward spiral. Mindfulness is a way to counterbalance that. So if you find yourself getting caught in the rabbit hole of a thought, simply see it, bow to it, and welcome it without indulging it. Tara Brach, who is a meditation here in the DC area, has a phrase that she says called this too, this too, this thought too. It's a way of basically creating a welcoming space for whatever thought emerges without feeling the need for further indulgence. So take a couple moments. Notice the thoughts that show up. Name the contour of them. Accept and welcome them with bare attention. You might want to say, this too, this thought too. Another phrase that you might use to simply notice and welcome the experience is, how fascinating. How fascinating that I find myself thinking about this thought. We don't need to fix it, indulge it. We can simply notice it and come back to our breath and wait for the next thought to arise. Noticing thoughts, noticing the contour, what they are about, without indulging, welcoming them as part of the experience of being alive, and coming back to our breath. Noticing our thoughts, and noticing when we are not noticing our thoughts, and coming back to the purpose. We may have to do this 10,000 times in a given 15-minute sit, and that is perfectly okay. Mastering mindfulness doesn't mean being empty or devoid of thought. It's noticing the thoughts that are there and choosing which ones we want to begin cultivating. Decide which ones we want to let go of. As you deepen this practice, another thing that you might want to do is to notice the trajectory of your thoughts. How one thought leads to another, to how those thoughts condition us to act, how they harden our stories. How they become fixed truths that we no longer choose to explore. And how those stories then impact the way we see the world, ourselves, and each other. At any given moment, we can stop this trajectory by coming back to the present moment, by noticing the cause and effect of the thoughts and the forms that they take. When we do this, we allow ourselves to get back into the driver's seat and to be in control of the thoughts instead of our thoughts controlling us. We can start designing our experience instead of being victims to it. Allowing yourself to take a couple more moments to notice your thoughts. This too, how fascinating. And coming back to the next one. With acceptance, non-judgment, curiosity, a commitment to the contour instead of the content, a commitment to seeing with that 10,000-foot vision how our thoughts have legs, where they walk, where they take us, and deciding if that's a place we want to go anymore. Is it useful? Is it life-affirming? Is it a story that you want to live into? Is it a story that's big enough for others to live into? If not, we let it go. Imagining the thought like a seed that we plant, gives form and rises into a beautiful or not so beautiful flower. Choosing those thoughts wisely. The more we practice, the faster we get at recognizing our thoughts and their potential impact. We can learn to step around the potholes of life instead of falling straight into them. If we can see them coming, mindfulness gives us that chance between the phenomena of what we experience and our reactions to choose more skillful paths, more skillful actions. May we continue after this practice to cultivate thoughts that lead us to inner peace and outer peace, and cultivate greater skillfulness in the ways that we live our lives. Namaste.